Good morning, everybody listening. I'm coming at you live, 3:04 p.m. from the 5th floor of the Seton Hall parking deck in between classes, and it's time to kick the show off the road, We got to get this inaugural episode down. It's going to be quick. It's going to be short. I might not end up getting it on podcast software, but I had to get it done before week 1 of the season, and I really do want to get it hosted. I have that all set up. It's in the works, and I'm just waiting for a couple people to get back to me because I'm trying to do it for free. I don't want to do that $20 a month, but regardless, I'm going to be posting this on YouTube later when I finish it up. So let's go. Let's begin. Light and sweet. That's what this episode's going to be. I want to talk about Tampa Bay and Dallas first and foremost. Tomorrow night, inaugural game, 8:20 p.m. Thursday night football kickoff. No, never mind. Monday Night Football is what Eli and Peyton are doing. So Thursday, it's going to be on ESPN. It's going to be fun. I mean, we all know what's going to happen. Dallas is going to lose. The question is how bad? The question is how close? The question is how's Dak going to look coming back from the compound fractures in his ankle? How are Tampa Bay going to look? I mean, they are the first fully returning Super Bowl team. I mean, starters. I mean, their bench, for the most part, came back too. A lot of guys took cuts and everything like that. And isn't it just funny how the perception around Tom Brady has changed since he went to Tampa? When he was in New England, we were talking about them as the evil empire, like as bad as the early 2000s Yankees. We're talking about Belichick is Palpatine and Tom Brady's Darth Vader, and all of a sudden, now that he's in Tampa Bay, it's Tommy Tampa. He's drinking avocado tequila, is getting drunk, throwing the Lombardi trophy over the Tampa Bay. And it's his team. Yeah, it was a talented roster, but man, they were 7-9 with Jameis throwing 5,000 yards. He had like 42 total turnovers, which is ridiculous, but still, 7-9, he comes in, he brings the winning culture. And that's something, first and foremost, Dallas does not have a winning culture. They brought in a winning coach, but he's been replaced for 2 years, and Green Bay has gone 13-3 in both years since after he had a couple shaky seasons with Green Bay. That was more Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying anything bad about Mike McCarthy. We got to wait some more time. Dallas's roster, I mean, it really got screwed over last year with injuries between Dak, the offensive line, which, by the way, the offensive line is not going to be superior for this game. You have La'el Collins with a neck pincher. You have Zach Martin, who's just out with COVID. I don't know if he's vaccinated. It's a good question. I'm assuming he is. It's Delta variant. You can get it. But I saw the point spread was 51 points a week ago. It's been moved down to 49, which tells you it's probably going to go under. Tampa Bay's defense is just so good, and everybody's back. And that's one of those things. It's like at the beginning of a season, an offense is going to have a higher chance to have more hiccups than a defense. That just seems to be the trend. A lot of times under total points hit in the first week of games, especially the first one. And that's probably going to be the script of this game. It's going to be so many questions about Dallas's offense. And Tampa Bay outranks Dallas at every single position except for running back. And that's not an exaggeration. I mean, maybe if everybody's healthy right now when he's 44, you would take Dak Prescott over Tom Brady. But with the hyperbole, with the shoulder injury, they're talking to like Rangers and Yankees executives because it's a baseball type of injury. Too much hyperbole. Dallas can't win that game. If Dallas wins that game, let me say this because there's never a can't in football. Anything can happen. If Dallas wins that game, they probably have to put up at least 45 points against Tampa Bay's defense, which is coming in as a consensus number 1 defense. They're stacked at every position group. They are so stacked, they had the liberty to take Joe Tryon to add to their defensive line. I paused for a second there because I saw that they changed him to outside linebacker. But still, Tampa Bay, no-brainer. It'll hopefully be a fun game. Hopefully it won't be boring. I hope it's not like early season Dallas last year where it was just shootouts until Dak got hurt and then the defense finally figured something out. But in the same breath, how many rookies are they going to have on defense this year, right? So many guys who are starting their first NFL games. I can't take Dallas seriously this week. Thinking about other games, Atlanta and Philly is an interesting one because it's really, how good is Philly going to be with all their guys returning from injury? And Atlanta, I mean, is a better team than last year. Kyle Pitts is poised to probably have the best tight end season of all time because he's a wide receiver who can block, so they're playing him at tight end. He's going to take up all the Julio Jones targets. It's going to be fun. Okay, maybe 90%. I don't want to exaggerate. Russell Gage will get some in there. Calvin Ridley's going to do his thing. I can't take Philadelphia seriously either. I mean, yeah, you could say Matt Ryan's arm strength is deteriorating, but who does Philly have in their secondary that's, like, scary? Is there anybody on Philadelphia's secondary where you think, oh, they might be a problem? Like, not even they will be a problem. They might be a problem. I don't even know if they have a top 30 corner on their roster. Top 50 corner. I'll go that far. Losing Jalen Mills. So, yeah, Atlanta's going to win that game. It's going to be a high-scoring game because Atlanta's defense has been shaky since the dawn of man, or Deion Sanders' retirement. Giants at home against Denver. The Giants have one of the lowest percentages of winning Week 1 games in the last 20 years. Denver has the highest. 67% of their Week 1 games they win. My question is, how many of those were home games? We know Denver wins overwhelmingly at home, especially early in the season. Same thing with Miami, because Miami Heat, not the basketball team, the Heat of Miami early in the year, or playing in Denver after not being a mile high all through training camp and everything. Some guys aren't fully conditioned between how the practice rules are these days. So Denver's away. Denver's got Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. I love Teddy Two Gloves. Do not get me wrong. I love Teddy Bridgewater. But he wasn't exactly inspiring last year in Carolina, and he's in a similar offense this year with Denver. In his first drive against the backup Rams defense in his first preseason start, he went 1 for 6. This Giants defense, I'm a Giants fan, so I'll be honest with you guys right away. I have never seen a roster that's so talented that's so bad at winning games. I mean, I guess it makes sense because the places where they're not talented are the most crucial positions for scoring, the offensive line and quarterback, but still. But that defense, I was really hoping Drew Lock was going to start because then I would be like, yeah, Giants going to win. Now I think it's a bit of a 50-50 ball. I think the fact that the Giants aren't favored is a little inane. Denver's not even home. Denver's away. Denver's got a new quarterback. Denver has a lot of struggle points on offense, and they're playing a really good, I would say an elite defense. I want to say this secondary is going to be top 5. Everybody's playing in it. So I'm taking the Giants. I think the way the game gets lost is through Daniel Jones' feeble hands and inability to put 2 hands on a football at all times. But I'm going with the Giants. I hope this is a different team. I'm not expecting it to be a different team. I'm saying if this is a 6-11 Giants team, they're still winning this game. Denver's not that guy. Next game, what's supposed to be the blowout of the week, San Francisco and Detroit. It's going to be the blowout of the week. Dude, Detroit's got a good defensive line. They have a couple good linebackers. They have a good corner who wasn't that good his rookie season, but that could be because of COVID rules, OTAs, everything like that, not really having much time because he was better towards the end of the season. But Jared Goff is one of the most inaccurate quarterbacks in the last 5 years. He's actually more inaccurate and throws more uncatchable passes than Jameis Winston. So that tells you all you need to know about Jared Goff. The fact that Sean McVay kept taking that team to a playoff is why he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. That could be my first hot take of the podcast. First podcast hot take, Sean McVay is a Hall of Fame coach. I'll get to the Rams in a second. But the 49ers have everybody returning. Gucci Garrop wins 70% of his starts with the 49ers. This is a no-brainer. 49ers, I believe, are minus 7.5. I mean, I don't want to keep giving people betting advice. I've been 50-50 with the betting so far, but if you want to do an alt spread, cover 9.5. That would probably hit. It would probably hit. Because the problem is with saying, like, Detroit could, like, score in garbage time is that if Trey Lance comes in at quarterback, you know, in the fourth quarter, if they're up by 20, he's dangerous. He's erratic right now, but he's dangerous. their running game is dangerous, okay? If they pull out Mostert and they put in Trey Sermon, just as dangerous. Their depth on offense is absolutely insane. They will be playing out of their minds until half their team gets season-ending injuries like last season. So Detroit, it's a non-factor. Detroit might win 2 games this year. It could be like a Dan Orlovsky kind of year. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for Dan Campbell. I love that guy. I love Dan Campbell. Such a great interim head coach. He's like the interim head coach version of Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, I don't know how he's going to do in his start, but let me tell you, when he is forced to rise to the occasion, he rises to the occasion. Rams in Chicago. Rams win Chicago. It's not going to be much of a debate. The Rams are absolutely stacked. Chicago's defense is getting pillaged the past couple years in free agency, and they tend to have injuries when it matters. Their offense is uninspiring and unimpressive. Even if Justin Fields was starting, Andy Dalton's better than Justin Fields right now. All due respect to Justin Fields. I'm not even saying anything negative about Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is going to be a franchise quarterback. But Andy Dalton is underrated, overhated. Or maybe not at this point. I think that the climate on Andy Dalton opinions has kind of shifted to like, yeah, he's good. So he's a bottom tier starting quarterback, which is currently better than what Justin Fields is. And the Rams are the same team that won 10-6 with Jared Goff, but they got Matthew Stafford. And let me tell you, you know why this is a really favorable matchup for the Rams? Because I'm pretty sure the Rams are having points taken away from them because Matt Stafford has not started a game for them yet. Matt Stafford played against Chicago twice a year. Every year of his career. He knows this team. Okay, I think that bridges any sort of gap. I think the Rams are going to come out firing. You know what's my favorite Matt Stafford stat? I'm a big stat guy. Very big stat guy. My favorite Matthew Stafford stat. Matthew Pavlik's favorite Matthew Stafford stat. He's won half of his games on game-winning drives. I'm willing to bet more than half of those were jump balls to Calvin Johnson in the end zone or something like that. But seriously, that dude is a baller. That dude is a player who's always been on bad teams and bad rosters. And it's time to stop bad-mouthing him. He's an MVP candidate this year. It's my second hot take. Or Offensive Player of the Year when Patrick Mahomes throws 6,000 yards because he's got to abuse to 17 games. That's all I have for my sort of picks, which I think are locks. My games that I think are locks. So I'm not going to really spend time talking about other games. Patriots in Miami. I am taking Patriots. I think Mac Jones is stellar. Pro Football Focus thinks Mac Jones is stellar, and I know a lot of people don't like Pro Football Focus. I don't know why. It's more accurate than any other metric before. Dudes will swear by quarterback rating, but Pro Football Focus snap by snap is too much. Take a deep breath. All right, deep breath taken. I don't know what the Ravens are doing at running back. I'm kind of scared and concerned. I like Gus Edwards. I do, but Gus Edwards gives me those Boston Scott vibes. He's a great change of pace guy, but you don't want him starting. You don't. They brought in Le'Veon Bell, and I was actually surprised by that because I think Le'Veon Bell is absolutely washed up. I hope I'm wrong. I'll tell you this. He doesn't have a lot of tread on those tires, okay? And if there's any coach that can get those tires spinning again, it's John Harbaugh. He is probably the greatest thing to happen to the running game in the NFL since quarterbacks started throwing for 4,500 yards a year. John Harbaugh has completely revolutionized the running game. And it all starts with Lamar Jackson, obviously, but still. So I think if there's anybody who could make Gus Edwards a god running back, it would be John Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan, second runner-up. Same thing with Le'Veon Bell, the Le'Veon Bell revival. But I just think it's too much of a mentality. How many mentalities do you need in the locker room? That's all I have to say about that. I really thought that they were a team which would trade for a running back. I still peg them as a team who would trade for a running back. Let's say mid-season Trey Sermon's heating up for the 49ers and they just want to dump Mostert's contract, and you know where that scenario is going. Let's say the Packers have A.J. Dillon and they don't want to keep paying Aaron Jones. I don't know why they would do that, but they do a lot of things that piss off Aaron Rodgers, clearly. I really think the Ravens are a team where by the trade deadline, they're going to have traded a 3rd or 4th round pick for a solid running back. Not a good running back, a solid running back. It'll be really interesting to see. All right, back to games. I said I wouldn't go back to games, but just popped into my head. I have my notes in front of me. Just popped back into my head because I was scouring through them. Jacksonville over Houston is like the biggest no-brainer play of all time. Like, we are 4 days before this game, and Houston just traded away their best corner, Bradley Roby. I'm kind of impressed, actually. It's awesome to watch in a terrible way. I actually almost just had a tear come down my face because I just had a bit of empathy. I just thought about Houston Texans fans. I could not imagine being a Houston Texans fan right now. Deshaun Watson's got 23 civil suits against him, a lot of sexual harassment and assault allegations from different masseuses, various masseuses. My only comment on that is his lawyer said that he has about 20 masseuses who would say Mr. Watson did nothing wrong, and I'm thinking, what grown man needs 43 masseuses? Especially when you could just do it through the team, things like that. Really, really, really rubs me the wrong way. I don't want to make any sort of comments about it because the facts aren't out, but really, really, really rubs me the wrong way. Tyrod Taylor will be good for them, though. He's one of my favorite underrated quarterbacks. He really deserves way more respect than he gets. I mean, holy goodness. I know Justin Herbert had the best rookie season ever of a quarterback, which is awesome, and I love Justin Herbert. I don't like the fact that he chose to stay in college another year because the Giants got stuck with him, but dude, I love the kid. He's so good. If Tyrod Taylor's lung did not get punctured by that team doctor, are we talking about Justin Herbert? Or maybe we're like, oh yeah, Justin Herbert came in those last 6 games when the season was gone and he was really good. Let's hope he's good this year. No, we're talking about Justin Herbert as a superstar. He's the fantasy 7 quarterback. He's being drafted top 5 quarterbacks in most leagues. All the analysts are saying Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert, Justin Herbert. And can you blame them? They had the worst ranked offensive line last year. I'm a Giants fan. I've seen some pretty bad O-lines. Theirs was somehow worse than ours. They got 6 new guys. They had a star there last year. They had Beluga. Or did they just get Beluga and they had Lindsley? Don't know, don't care. They have Beluga, Lindsley now. They got Sean Slater. They brought in a few other guards from around starting caliber guys. Let go of Trey Turner. The experiments ended. He was great for 5 years. I don't know what happened. He probably got hurt. That's probably what happened. I hope the best for him. He was also the only good offensive lineman on that side of the line, so he was probably getting double stacked and everything like that, which does not help your stats and outlook, especially when you're getting paid like he was. So, yeah, man. Who are they playing this week? They're playing Washington this week. Ooh, that's a fun game. The Chargers' defense was horrendous last year. They got a lot of guys coming back. A lot of guys left, though. A lot of guys coming back. Their offense was all right last year. It's going to be great this year. And what I just said is it could be like half truly said for Washington too. Not to be too controversial, like their defensive line was great. Their linebackers played well. Their corner safety sort of play was kind of up in the air. Their defensive line bailed them out. And this year they should be better. They brought in Kendall Fuller. They should be better. And their defensive line should be better too. I think they have 6 or 7 first and second round picks dotting that lineup. It's kind of scary, kind of terrifying as a Giants fan. Daniel Jones is going to die. I hope, not actually, but metaphorically, he's going to die. All levels but physical. Anytime they play Washington. Even though he's the Washington killer, by the way. In his career, he's 4-0 against Washington. I think he's won 2 other games elsewhere. He won against Tampa. 2 other games. Unless I'm miscounting, but it doesn't matter. He's won more games against Washington than the rest of the NFL in his first 2 years. It's kind of sad. It's kind of cool that he kills Washington, though. I'll never forget that 355 touchdown game with no picks. 350 yards, not 355 touchdowns. 350 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, no picks. Only rookie to ever do that. I have a lot of faith in Daniel Jones. I think last year was just a crapshoot from top to bottom. And in preseason, we saw in Daniel Jones's 7 drives everything we love and hate about Daniel Jones, all right? He rolls out, he's got a wide open guy in the end zone, he throws the ball behind him, it's a pick, right? It was a 5-yard pass. It's an interception. It's like, Daniel, what the hell? And then 2 drives later, he throws a beautiful dime to Caden Smith over the top of a linebacker's head Like 40-yard touchdown. Like absolutely, how does he catch that? How does he throw that sort of window? And that happened. So one of my friends said a funny thing. They said Daniel Jones is Eli Manning without the family pedigree who can run. You know, he's got the same sort of demeanor, same really weird throwing ability. Like, he can make all the throws, but his mind is really good 95% of the time. 5% of the time, it's like, duh, like something happens in between the ears and just plugs everything. But I'd like to see Daniel Jones play well. Because, if I'm being honest, right now, Zach Wilson looks like the best quarterback in New York. I know we've only seen him in preseason, but we did see him in college too. And while Daniel Jones was really good in preseason, his first year, we don't even need to talk about that actually, because we know who Daniel Jones is as a quarterback relatively. Zach Wilson, we don't. We saw him at BYU. I mean, easy schedule, but he was making throws to no-name receivers. He had to make those throws. What I was worried about with Zach Wilson, my only thing which I was watching him for in preseason was, in college, he liked to flirt with danger, right? Baker Mayfield flirted with danger a lot in college, and he got his crap rocked his first year doing all that. Johnny Manziel, same thing, but on a much bigger scale. But in preseason, Zach Wilson released every ball on time. Zach Wilson made 3 bad reads across 3 games, in my opinion. You know, I'm no quarterback expert. I'm just obsessed with football. But he made 3 bad reads. He made all the throws. He has all the throws. He has all the plays. He has all the ability. He deserves all the praise. And I'm really excited for the Jets because they got a lot of wide receiver 2s in that team. If any of them become a 1 caliber guy. The offensive line added a lot of pieces. Not this offseason, last offseason. A couple guys in drafts. And there's a very good chance that starts really melding together this year. I think the Jets have I'll say it. They have the best chance to go from, like, really bad to borderline playoff team this year. And it's going to be hard because they lost Carl Lawson to an Achilles tear. Really unfortunate. Carl Lawson, he had the most quarterback rushes, most quarterback hits in the league last year, but he only had 8 sacks. I was like, that's an aberration. Those quarterbacks are just lucky. Probably because he was playing in a division with guys who can get out of sacks, between Roethlisberger being bigger than half the guys and Baker Mayfield not being as athletic as he thinks he is, being pretty athletic, and then Lamar Jackson, freaky, trying to tackle him. Yeah, it's hard. You know, he's moving to a division with a couple easier to sack guys. I mean, I'd say the only guy who's not easy to sack there is Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the best athlete on the offensive side of the ball outside of Stephon Diggs for Buffalo. It's kind of funny. They get this kid from the mountains. He's supposed to be one of the worst quarterbacks if you base his NFL play on his college success rate. There's a stat. It's called college success rate. And I don't have it in front of me, but I'm going to give you guys the gist. This is for Josh Allen, by the way. Every quarterback, when they go to the NFL, has a lower success rate than in college. That's like a cumulative stat of like every single snap, every single thing, positive, negative stats. I don't even know how it's calculated, but all I know is that every quarterback in college has a higher success rate there than they do in the NFL. And Josh Allen's success rate was so low, it was like third-string quarterback tier. And he beat it. He is a statistical anomaly, Josh Allen. Josh Allen's success was impossible. Impossible without sports science. I really think that's what it is. I think we're at a point where if you can find a kid who's smart and can throw a ball 90 yards, you could probably teach him how to throw it a little accurate. I don't know. We'll be testing that formula as years go on. Look at how the NFL's changed in the last 5 years. There haven't been a lot of misses on first and second round quarterbacks compared to prior. A lot of these quarterbacks are just great coming out of college. And I don't know if it's because a lot of athletic people had babies at the same time and told them how to throw a football. Or I don't know if it's just a new thing. I don't know if it's sports science and the way the game's played now. It's easier, more approachable. More people want to do it. More people are invested in it. More people are learning the science of a throwing platform and the ability to release a football at X velocity in this place and this window, and playing mental games and puzzles to keep your mind fast, and there's apps for everything. I don't know if it's technology. I don't know if it was just luck. We'll see this year, because there's supposed to be 4 or 5 NFL caliber quarterbacks in college who are going to declare for the draft at the end of this year. And we'll see if that holds up this year, because it looks like it held up last year. Oh my goodness. I think Trey Lance is the only question mark out of those top 5 guys, and he played the same amount of games as Mac Jones in college. It's going to be an exciting season. It's going to be an exciting 3 years for football, really, watching how the league is massively changing with 17 games going on 18 games, watching the effects of the new collective bargaining agreement, hopefully getting through this COVID experiment. I should say experience, but experiment sounds better, because it's just such a freaking question mark. So much why. But, that's it for this inaugural episode. I'm going to run through it, do some editing. It'll be a little more polished next time. I'm really pushing this out. Not to push it out. That's not what I'm saying. I prepared for this, obviously, but this is my first foray into any sort of podcast, my first foray into any communications. I did some work for a radio station a while back, but not work like that. I sat down and watched people talk, I just did some numbers, but this is going to be fun. I hope to get some listeners. I hope to get on an actual podcast thing. I'm trying to get this Podbean account so I can get on Apple and Spotify. I'm not trying to keep throwing everything on YouTube. Who the hell wants to go on YouTube to listen to a podcast? The point's to open up an app and type in the podcast and drive and listen. It's just on-demand radio, and that's what I need to figure out. Maybe I'll figure out by tonight. Maybe this whole entire snippet's going to get deleted. I don't know. But take care. Have a good one. I'm going to be posting every Wednesday. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Goodbye.